A big welcome to our Sunday worship service. And in the language of one of those who continues to walk this land, the Sichomch, hest. Welcome, my friend. I'm Rodney Fry. I'm honored to be your celebrant this morning. And on this special day, really all days are Indigenous Peoples' days. I want to humbly acknowledge my tremendous gratitude for the insights and wisdom shared with me by my Indigenous mentors. They have truly transformed me. In addition to their teachings, I've also been honored to have received from two of my mentors the Indian names Magokshjilish and Kwakwilskiki, each carrying tremendous responsibility, each helping set a path and guide my way. Magokshjilish roughly means seeking to help others. It was bestowed by Thomas Yellowtail on me in 1977. And Kwakwilskiki, Little Red Hawk, from Cliff Saijan, a Sichomch elder, bestowed in 2006. Aho, Grandpa Tom, Limnech, Cliff. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all those joining us for the first time. We're glad you're here. If you haven't stopped by, please stop by and visit the welcome desk in the foyer. Pick up a name tag and a newcomer packet. This allows us to get in touch with you. The welcome committee members are those with a little yellow on their name tag. Raise your hand. There's, oh my goodness. Nancy, thank you. And please consider joining us after the service in the fellowship hall downstairs or the Zoom chat room for support. Now let's begin in the spirit of saying our words of welcome together. Whether this is the first or your 1,000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, zoomed, ran, or danced in, we're glad you join us. We're a one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, genders, all are welcome here. Now we'll take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, we're going to show the people joining us on Zoom. If you're at home, please turn on your camera. And now, people at home wave and say, hest. You heard that, didn't you? Now here in our congregation, please wave and say, hest. Welcome, friends. We have a couple announcements.
Hello, I'm Nancy Nelson, and I lead the Shared Worship Ministry team. This team collaborates with Reverend Elizabeth to create the topics and themes that make up our worship services. It's a relatively new group, but I have found it to be incredibly fulfilling and an amazing way to participate in our church. If you're wondering about maybe joining our team, you might want to hear from the people who are on the team already. So this is what they have to say about being part of Shared.
All about connection and creativity and fun and inspiration, sparks, and then back to connection.
Opportunity to deepen my relationship with the church, with the individuals that are already in ministry, and to get a sense of community and values.
Shared worship is connection and growing.
Is a collaboration of people sharing their gifts in the creation of Sunday services.
Shared worship is many things, but maybe at its core, it's a wonderful opportunity to share love with each other, with the congregation, and from our congregation to our neighbors, our strangers in our community, to all.
Shared worship is how we create a collective truth that transcends our individual understandings, but while also honoring the wisdom that's in each of us.
You've heard from the members of the shared worship team. Now let's hear from Reverend Elizabeth.
So you know how I always say that there are as many ways to be human as there are humans. What I love about the shared worship ministry is it lifts up all of these various voices and says, this way of being human is sacred and special and beautiful. Folks have been just so brave and open. And I think when somebody tells the truth about themselves and their life, when they open up and are vulnerable that way, you just know you're standing on sacred ground, on holy ground. So it's been an incredible gift to have this team to work with.
The shared worship ministry is going to be expanding, and we have training that starts at the end of this month. If you think this is something that you would want to do, come see me and I'll give you more details and let you know really what it involves. But at its heart, what it is listening and finding the voices both within us and around us that can help us grow and make our worship services a better and more true reflection of who we are. This is something that I think it helps us in this time, and it is such an opportunity for growth, both as an individual and as a congregation. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Sam Welsh. I'm the music director here. I just wanted to announce that on Wednesday, October 23rd, is going to be our next Feed of Dreams. You might have seen the slide there advertising it. What we're going to do a little differently this time is we're going to come up here at 7 p.m. So the dinner starts at 6. We're going to come up and have an old-fashioned hymn sing. So bring a friend, come sing. We'll do a lot of hymns that we haven't done before. I've even got some hymnals from other denominations that we could kind of dive into if you want. But Mac and Janice and Joseph are going to lead it, and it's going to be awesome. So, and you can also, play Stump the Pianist and try to find something obscure that I can't sight read. So that'll be fun too. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Sam. We preface our service by acknowledging that our church was built on the ancestral homelands since time immemorial of the Sichumsh, meaning the ones found here, referring to Lake Coeur d'Alene, their origin place. And we're called the Coeur d'Alene, heart of the all, by French-speaking traders who had a tough time making trading deals with them. And of course, the area that you're all familiar with right here, before there was Moscow, was termed by the Sichumsh Smokwa. This is also the homeland of the Namipu, meaning the people, also called the Nez Perce by the French-speaking trappers and traders, falsely identifying them as having pierced noses. And this is also the homeland to the Palouse-Pum, the name for themselves referring to their head village and a rock sticking out of the snake at that site, and shortened by Euro-Americans to Palouse. Let us shed the yoke of Euro-American society and their names and pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. So, if you're at home, we hope you can join us by lighting a candle, a chalice, as we will do so here. Yeah. And say, in the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share. Please be seated. Now that you have gotten seated, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome our guest speaker, who will present insights and wisdom, along with introducing the Rose Creek Singers, in honor that they're here as well. So let me introduce Aiyana James, member of the Coeur tribe, also serving as their Climate Reliance Coordinator.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Aiyana James. I'm not sure how much insights and wisdom I can promise you all today, but I'll try. I have the privilege of introducing Rose Creek. They will do a song for us, and if you're physically able, I would like you all to stand up and we will listen to them.
Hey,
to Violence on the Police, or ATVP. ATVP mission is to empower individuals affected by domestic violence, sexual assault and abuse, and stalking. To donate, indicate monthly Sundays on your check or on the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and the continuing work of this church, will now take time to practice generosity. It's my honor and pleasure to turn it over to Aiyana James, and thank you.
All right, well, hello again. Like I said earlier, my name is Aiyana James. I'm a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, and on my grandpa's side, I'm also Quinault, and then my grandma's side, Nez Perce. So I got a little mix of everything in there. I was given the privilege of coming and speaking with you all today, and one of the biggest things that I took away from the preparation of this conversation was how you all can support the tribe. But I think first, before we get into that, I think it's essential for every individual to address what they need to do first before coming to the tribe. When coming into these spaces of the tribe, it's easy to kind of want to help and want to do all of these things, but it's important for you all to realize that there's spaces that you may have been in or groups that you may have been a part of that have contributed to the oppression of Indigenous people, and that's a big responsibility that we all have to take. Especially in areas like this, I think it's no secret that tribes have not always been and continue to not be treated fairly. That's just the reality that we live in. And I think that before, like I said, before going into these spaces, taking that responsibility and realizing that sorry, I'm a little nervous, but my dad always told me when you talk to during these things, all I can hope is that I speak from the heart and at least one of you will take away something important. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. So I think as well, before coming into the spaces of the tribe, realizing and acknowledging our history and how that's contributed to why we're having to withhold all of these things that we do. There's community events and things like these, but that's only a glimpse of what we do as a tribe, but that's because that's what we've had to do. We've had to keep those things close. We've had to keep those things to ourselves for our survival. I hope you all know the sad history of the Coeur d'Alene tribe and our boarding schools and all of the colonization that we've experienced, and we've continued to experience those systems and those oppressions within internally and externally, and how we've been treated by the greater society, especially the state of Idaho. So that's another thing that I think is very important, is to realize how recent that is. My grandma went there, and that's not that long ago. That's not that long ago that we still have survivors of those residential schools that went through those hardships. And I think that it's easy to think, oh, that was so long ago, you know, like that where we have our casino, we have all these things, we have our clinic and all that stuff. Like, oh, it's so easy to think that we're doing good, but we are. But those things are still very prevalent in what we do in all of our life. And like I said, it's important for you all to acknowledge that before you come into our spaces and what we do. Acknowledge that there are going to be things that you don't need to know. There are going to be things that we aren't required to share with you all, but that's okay. That's how it should be. Like I said, we've had to be on survival mode for centuries to keep that information, keep our culture, and we've been disconnected from it. I shouldn't say we lost it, because we didn't. We just had to kind of put it away for the sake of living. We were punished for practicing our culture. We were punished for practicing our language. And those things we're still seeing those impacts today. And also another thing before coming into our space and before being so willing, as I hope you all are, to uplift and respect our identity, our sovereignty, our existence. It's important for you all to, like I said, take responsibility for what you have done. Do your own research before expecting us to guide you, you know, and it might not be an easy conversation to have with yourself. Even I have had to acknowledge what the communities and systems. I grew up in Oregon. I grew up off the reservation. I had to acknowledge how that contributed to how I go about my Indigenous identity. And I think that that's something that, like I said, we all have to do individually. Take a look at yourself and what are you doing and actively doing that is creating this environment of oppression, and how are you contributing to these systems? Like I said, it's no question the society that we live in. It takes more effort to get out of those ideas and get out of that groove than it does to just stay in it. It's hard to accept those things. And I think that's just like I said, I didn't really have anything specific to say up here. I kind of just go with the flow. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is just take that responsibility. And also, like, I don't want anyone to take this as, oh, we don't want you. Like, I can only speak for myself, but I encourage everyone to come up and see who we are. Like I said, there's been so long that we've had to hide it. And I want everyone to know who we are, know what we do, know what we've been through, as terrible as it may be, but that's what's made us who we are, and that's why we're here. All of us in the tribe are here because someone lived through those things. Someone did what they had to do to survive through all of the terrible things that we've gone through, and that we're still continuing to go through. We may not have our boarding school anymore. We may not have all these things, but I mean, I mentioned earlier, I work for the tribe, and even in those things, still having to accept, like I said too, I grew up in Oregon. It's a very, very different vibe there. Having to accept that there are still people who do not want us here. I'm sure, and I hope you all are familiar with the phrase, "Kill the Indian, save the man." I have met people who still believe that. And like I said, acknowledging that that's a reality. That's not history. That's what we're experiencing right now. And talking with people high up in the tribe too, they're facing those things from people in our government, people who are in charge of these federal systems and these state governments that have that intention when dealing with tribes and working with us. So, like I said, it's not anyone's fault for what has happened. in here, I hope, but it's also your responsibility to figure out how you may be subconsciously giving into these things. Implicit bias is a big thing. I hope everyone knows what that is. And I do think that whether we want to accept it or not, or acknowledge it, it is it is a big thing that especially people around here have. I think they have the idea of our tribe and what they think we are, but like I said, I encourage you all to get to know us for who we really are. I'm biased, but we're awesome. We've taken care of the lake for thousands of years. You know, there's a reason that, like I said, I'm in the environmental world, so I kind of am a little biased too about how we've taken care of things. But like for what we've done for the past thousands of years is taking care of our land, and this is a little segue into another thing that we talked about me addressing, is how that history of colonization and these things impacted our relationship with the land. Through my education, I realized that a lot of people are looking towards Indigenous people to address how we get over what we're dealing with climate change. Like I said, we've taken care of this land for thousands of years, and people are kind of just coming around to the idea that we knew what we were doing. There's a reason that it was beautiful before everyone came here. So when we go about all of these things, when we go about dealing with these disasters, and I don't know if I can call them natural disasters because they're not natural. They were caused by humans. But all of these earthquakes, these hurricanes, these fires, the droughts, acknowledging, and I keep saying acknowledging, sorry, but that's a big thing. We need to acknowledge everything. But kind of just looking to Indigenous people, looking to us to kind of guide the way of how to treat the land. Everyone up in this area, I'm sure, is here because the land is so beautiful. This is ours. There's a reason why we're here, because it is beautiful. And we've kept it that way for thousands upon thousands of years. And I personally, my personal bias, I think that the reason why we're in this position is because we've lost that relationship to the land. And we as a tribe have been taken out of control of that. In the work that we're doing as a tribe, but that's the biggest thing that we're doing, is figuring out what we can do to gain that relationship back. And that's one thing as well that I want all of you to realize and respect and acknowledge again that we are the first caretakers of this land. We are the first people who have been here. And when you go into these spaces, and I appreciate when like opening this service today with that acknowledgement of we were here first. We know what we're doing with the land. We know what needs to happen for the continued well-being of it so that we can survive. My dad always told me to, the land doesn't need us, we need it. Eventually, if we don't uphold our end of the deal of taking care of her, she can do just fine without us. You know, we are dependent on the resources around us for our survival, and that interconnectedness between us and nature is something that I can't say it was lost. It was damaged severely because of colonization and because of all these things that have happened to us. And I think that, like I said, it's really important for you all to understand that and respect the things that we've been through. That was kind of all over the place, but acknowledge things, respect us, respect our sovereignty, respect what we're doing. And I encourage you all to come up. Any event that's public to the community, I encourage you all to come up and see what we're doing at the tribe, see how we've made a good life for ourselves despite all of the things that we've had, see the resilience that we've had towards all of these things that have happened to us. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you want to come talk to me after, I'd be willing to have a conversation, not up on stage in front of a bunch of people. But yeah, so thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all letting me come and talk to you all.
Thank you so much. From the heart. As nervous as it was, it didn't come across that way. Thank you so much. Do we have another song from the Rose Creek Singers?
Do you guys want to do another song?
Let's do our musical benediction now. Please stand. Please join me in the words of extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice that might burn gently in our hearts, that light our way as we leave this place. May guide our way and fin together again. I just want to say Limnach from the bottom of my heart for the words and the songs shared today. They are words of this place, always, since the beginning, since time immemorial. And they need to continue to be sung and said. And I take Aiyana at her word that we need to do our part, our homework. Think about these things. Think about our role and how that role may continue in subtle ways that we're not even aware. We're too close to it. But to think of the truth that is there and take her up on her offer to go to the source. I've taught for many years at the university, as you know. The high point of my class wasn't my wonderful lectures, though they were indeed wonderful, I'm sure. The great books. The wonderful thing every year was our trips to the Coeur d'Alene Reservation. We'd do 2 to the Coeur d'Alene, 1 on Water Potato Day. There's nothing like it, nothing like it. You really get in to the mud of it and gather. But you listen, you experience it. You experience from the heart of elders that teach you, want to teach you. And going to the offices, our students would go to various departments on the reservation and listen. And the Coeur d'Alene were so generous. They want to share the truth. And it's there for us all to gain. So let us do our part. Limnach.